Newly released body cam footage captures the moment two high school students are arrested, accused of plotting a brutal murder targeting one of their own classmates. Investigators say the plan involves something even more disturbing, a so-called blood ritual. As deputies moved in, the suspects appeared laughing, seemingly unfazed, but what they allegedly wrote and drew paints a far darker picture, one that goes well beyond a teenage prank. So what was the real plan, and how close did it come to becoming reality? Welcome to Criminal Motives. My name is Matthew Pfeiffer. I'm a therapist who breaks down the behavior behind high-profile true crime cases. Now, let's get into it.
They were both charged with attempted murder of another student. It's disturbing to watch just how lightly they take the situation, but the odd behavior did not begin with that video. We just got our hands on the police body-worn camera of their arrest inside the school, along with the eerie drawings and journal entries related to the case that show just how serious this murder plot allegedly was. Now, if you are new to this case, let me set the scene for you. We're in Altamont Springs, Florida. It's in the central part of the state, not far from Orlando, on January 22nd of this year. And according to the incident report, Lake Brantley High School received an anonymous tip from a student around 11:30 at night saying another student who went by the name Jimmy was planning to kill a student the next day, January 23rd. Now, here's a portion of the tip from the police report, and this is how it reads. Quote, "I have great suspicion that he would do this, as he already been recently involved with police officers at school about threats we've been getting towards our school. He knows the people who have made the threats, and the cops are also aware of this. He had also told me earlier today that the cops had confiscated his phone as they got another threat," which apparently was one of the reasons why he wants to do something like this. I'm not sure about Jimmy's legal name, since I never call him by his legal name, but by memory, it might be Isabelle. Now, through the investigation, police said the person named Jimmy from the tip was positively identified as a 15-year-old girl named Isabelle Valdez, who, according to officers, was already being investigated for swatting calls made to another student on 3 different occasions in January, including the day the tip came in. Officers from the Seminole County Sheriff's Office went to Valdez's home to ask her about the alleged target in the anonymous tip and if she had contacted him or knew him. She denied having anything to do with him and said the police had her phone so she couldn't contact anyone. So let's go to the next morning, January 23rd. Officers asked school personnel to pull Valdez along with her best friend, 14-year-old Lois Liippard, out of class to conduct interviews. And here is where this story takes a very disturbing twist. When Valdez was asked if she thought about hurting herself or someone else, Valdez paused and said yes. Valdez said that she had a letter to give her parents after she was going to carry out her plan. She was asked how she would hurt the alleged victim, and Valdez stated that she had a knife, gloves, trash bags, and wipes in her backpack. Valdez then opened her backpack and handed over a white trash bag containing all the items she had described. Now, according to the police report, Valdez described her alleged target as, quote, perfect, and he reminded her of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooter, the same person behind that horrible tragedy in Connecticut in 2012, taking the lives of 20 children and 6 adult staff members. Valdez stated that she heard voices telling her that if she killed the alleged target, the Sandy Hook shooter and her, they would have a blood bond, which would bring the shooter back to life. Think about just how disturbing that is for just a moment. Now, Valdez stated that she planned to wait for the target in the upstairs bathroom where she would pull him inside. Valdez stated that she would then stab him in the stomach or cut his throat. Valdez stated that she had flowers for him and would leave them for his funeral. Valdez had 2 cigarettes and a lighter with her, which she planned to smoke after killing the student. Valdez wanted to smoke the cigarettes after she killed him because she knew that she would be arrested. Valdez was then asked if she had told anyone else about her plans, and Valdez stated that she told Liippard, her best friend, that 14-year-old girl, also in the back seat of the car, as the two of them are laughing about this at a later time. Now, Valdez was asked whether she would consider the consequences, and Valdez replied, quote, jail or a psych ward, but it did not matter. She was still going to do it. She wanted to be with the shooter. Now, according to police, several interviews were conducted at the school, including a mental health interview where Valdez told an officer that she became fascinated with school shooters in middle school, but mostly the shooter from Sandy Hook. Valdez said that she had been stalking the alleged target and taking pictures of him with her phone and camera. And it should be noted that a camera was located and recovered from Valdez's bag during the investigation. Valdez stated another student was helping her follow the target on campus. Valdez said another student and Liippard knew about her obsession with the victim and the shooter. Valdez said that on January 22nd, she told Liippard about her plan to stab the victim the next day. What's even more chilling is that Valdez allegedly posted the student's photo on TikTok using the caption, "I love Sandy Hook," because to her, that student looked like the Sandy Hook shooter. Now, according to the report, Valdez first came up with the plot to kill her classmate 3 months prior, and Liippard was made aware of it the day before she planned on carrying it out, with Valdez even asking Liippard allegedly to make drawings for her. And when we get to those drawings a little later on, they are incredibly disturbing. Now, the same morning as the interviews with deputies, they say that Valdez took Liippard into a bathroom stall and showed her all of the items in her backpack, allegedly for the attack on their classmate. Valdez told police, allegedly, that Liippard helped her sharpen the knife and even gave her additional items, including the gloves, cigarettes, flowers, and lighter. After the killing, Valdez told police that she was going to make a blood ritual for the Sandy Hook shooter. Valdez stated that she was going to take the photos that she brought of the student and place them against his body. Valdez believes that this blood ritual would show her devotion to the shooter. Valdez stated that she heard voices saying that if she carried out the killing, the shooter's voice would come back to her. Valdez stated that she used to hear the shooter's voice, but no longer does. Valdez stated that she misses the shooter's voice quite a bit, and it was disappointing that she never got that connection again. Valdez believes that if she killed the student, the shooter would come back to her and she would not be alone. Now, as I mentioned earlier, police also interviewed Lois Liippard at the school, and the report said that Liippard confirmed that she gave Valdez the items that she requested for the alleged plot, and that Valdez explained the plan to her. Liippard.
This case is going to be very interesting when and if it makes it to trial, because there's a lot of elements of mental health. There's a lot of elements of the person and the accused that is willing and open to be honest about their thoughts and about hearing voices, about the blood rituals and everything that they planned on doing. And on one hand, this something that could lead to like some sort of plea deal when people are open and very frank like that. But on the other hand, it really speaks to mental health issues. There's several that it could be, but one that sticks out like a sore thumb, obviously with hearing voices, would be schizophrenia. The problem here is that that's also not an excuse for this type of behavior. But what's interesting is that with these mental health type of issues, we also have other people that are also involved. And so the problem with them is that, are they enabling and are they exasperating this, or do they also have some substantial mental health issues as well? Now, from a therapist standpoint, it's very common for people who struggle with mental illness to all hang out together. It's very common for now I'm someone who is diagnosed ADHD. Before I was diagnosed, I found out that I have a lot of friends that have ADHD and are neurodivergent. My wife is neurodivergent. People who, and the term birds of a feather flock together is very, very true when we're talking about mental health. So people also tend to gravitate towards one another when they are struggling with mental health, regardless if it's diagnosed or not. The reason for that is that they, just like any other community, the type of behavior feels more common and is more accepted when they're talking to other people who might get them, might understand them. And so there's a certain sense of belonging. But the problem is that if that community, that that might be struggling with mental health isn't diagnosed, number one, doesn't have any type of support, and they're just kind of winging it, so to speak, then it could, especially with teens, it could lead to something like this, where people's hormones are absolutely raging, where we have crushes, but we're also simultaneously hearing voices telling us things that we shouldn't be doing. So the assuming that this goes to trial, the trial would be very interesting because of that. I mean, even so, as damning as a lot of these videos are, even in a part of the video where she said, I was hoping that I would go to a psych ward, I can see where an attorney would look at that and really use that for the defense. So that will be very interesting. Now, again, I want to be very, very clear. Mental health is not it's not an excuse for bad behavior or for plotting anything like this. But I'm just saying that it'll be very interesting to see how a defense is spun potentially in their favor. But let's continue.
Also told police that she helped Valdez reach out to friends through online chat platforms about this alleged plan since she did not have a phone. Now, at this point, the officers have heard enough about both Valdez and Liippard's alleged involvement in this plan, and both of them are taken into custody on attempted murder charges. And here's how that went through police body-worn camera footage.
Isabelle, yeah, you do me a favor, just stand up, put your hands behind your back. Just gonna tighten these just a little bit, okay? Don't move. You start twisting your hands, they'll get real tight on you. Okay, so just leave your hands. You all right?
Yeah.
You need me to loosen on it? Which one?
No, it's okay. It's just I got like stuck in the back of the thing.
Come on out this way.
I think we'll go
Out this way.
yeah,
Towards
because
the.
that way it gets you out to the.
Okay, so we're waiting for the other. I'm just gonna bring them both at the same time.
Have they explained what's going on?
He's coming. Don't worry.
Have they explained to you? So unfortunately, you are under arrest. You're being charged with attempted first-degree murder. Okay? And that's premeditated. You're gonna be transported to jail, and then you'll be able to get in contact with your parents here, okay? But we are gonna call your parents to let them know what's going on, okay?
Her stuff's evidence. Okay, so let's take it. We're gonna head out.
Yeah, but we're just
We're just waiting for looking at the same time.
You're gonna do the same time? Well, are they different cars or same car?
Same car. Okay, I'm just waiting for the other one to lock down from both.
Lois, you wanna stand up? Place your hands behind your back. Go that way. I'm just blazer this. they talk to you about why you were arrested. Right, so let's I'll explain everything. The reason you're being arrested is you helped her sharpen it up. And so that's an accessory to the crime. Okay. You're going to be transported to the juvenile assessment center. There you'll be able to get in contact with your parents, but we are going to contact your parents to know what's going on. Okay.
So small, I need you to check out, please. First name Audrey, last name
Let's go, start going.
A minute.
For a search and
Yes, please.
Thank you.
your best friend.
We're gonna kiss them?
Yes.
Now, it appears that Valdez and Liippard are giggling while in handcuffs on these very serious attempted murder charges allegedly connected to this horrific plot that we've been talking about. And that does not stop after they're searched and then placed in the squad car.
Are you gonna be in the same one?
What do you mean, same one?
Same jail?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Why are you even touching me with your butt?
This is such a bonding experience. I love this.
Yeah, I think in my dreams he told me that he wanted me to kill him. So I think it's only fair, you know?
Yeah. Oh my god, I almost laughed and I almost peed myself.
I don't feel guilty for my actions, but I feel guilty on how you were gonna feel. Because honestly, I don't care. Dude, I was gonna do my makeup this morning for the mugshot, but I couldn't find anything.
I'm glad I don't actually look too bad today.
I look horrible. It's
And,
over.
and don't worry, you don't need to, don't worry, you're the butch. It doesn't matter if you look bad.
Hey, at least they were gonna see me some way or another in the mugshot. Dude, we were supposed to spread our story around the TCC though. Hey, these are two stupid from Florida that couldn't.
No, do not put me in it. This was it did not work.
You help me get materials. Dude, I thought I was gonna get sent to the psych ward. That's why I was so excited about everything. I think I would be so jolly if I was going to jail.
Yeah, I was kind of assuming they were wording it like you were gonna go to psych ward.
I know. But I shouldn't have told them all this. Okay, so I was there, and then they were asking me about the swatting incident that happened, and I started crying because I thought she was gonna feel bad, and send me to the psych ward because I was like, I thought about hurting someone. Yeah, I thought about hurting this boy, and then they saw through my and then they pulled out the bag from my backpack. I had to tell them everything that was inside. Dude, and now they also saw the drawings.
Oh yeah, I told them about that. I told them I did some weird drawings.
But I did write a note to my parents. Did they let you write one? You should have asked.
Police reportedly obtained a handful of notes and drawings related to the.
Before we get into the note that was written to the parents, their demeanor in this car ride, right? The giggling, calling this a bonding experience, the fact that they're going to be in jail together, really speaks to the level of struggle that they are struggling with mentally when it comes to this. And I don't say that lightly. And again, I want to be very, very clear. That's not an excuse. I think they need to be heading exactly where they're heading, to jail, and figure out some of the other aspects of this later, because there still needs to be consequences for their plot. Now, from a legal standpoint, it's going to be interesting because even though there was a plot, and we've seen stuff like this before. I actually talked about this with another school shooter in a couple of weeks ago in another situation. It's going to be interesting to see how this dynamic plays out in court, because there was a plan and there was a plot. And when we talk about attempted murder, and especially with Florida, we'll have to see what constitutes attempted, so to speak. Every state is going to be a little bit different with that, on whether a plan is an actual attempt. Some states and some the way that some people look at the law varies with that type of stuff. So that will also be interesting. However, what I will say is that with school shootings, school violence, those sorts of things, when people have things like a letter which they're about to go through, They have whatever weapons that they're going to have in backpacks and those sorts of things that now we're likely crossing over into an attempt. But I've seen in other cases where they've fought that with the fact that they haven't really actually done anything to constitute an actual attempt. So we'll have to see how that situation plays out as well. But let's go through this letter.
Case from Valdez's backpack, and one of those was the note that Valdez allegedly wrote to her parents, and this is what it says, quote, "Dear Mama and Papa, I'm sorry for what I'm going to do. Hopefully you will find this paper. I want you guys to know none of this is your fault or anyone else's in that matter, for myself and the Sandy Hook shooter. They told me that he would come back to speak to me if I did it for him. He wanted it. I think it's a fair and beautiful scene of devotion on my behalf. I love him. We're soulmates, just waiting to be reunited once more. I wanted you guys to know that you were the most perfect parents ever. I'm sorry I could not be a better child. I know there has been something wrong with me since I was a little kid. I just never showed it, and I'm sorry. I was never really shy. I just hated people, and I was aware of how disgusting everyone is. Being forced to talk was torture. I pretended to be a socialite to make you guys happy because I loved seeing you guys happy. It was one of the only things that made me happy. Over the years, I've just lost control over myself and my emotions. Whenever I told someone I hated you guys, it was a pure lie. I'm sorry for over-hurting you, and I deserve what's coming for me, as I'm also disgusting, cruel, and useless." Now, the notes also included this entry from Valdez, which paints a disturbing picture of her alleged fantasies of the crime. And this is what it says, quote, "It was just like any other normal day. I swear nothing seemed off until I remembered him. Oh, how much I loved you. Today was finally the day. You're so worth it. Expletive. We were leaving second period. I grabbed him. I don't know what happened, but I just started talking. Oh, you're so beautiful. The cutest boy around. I loved him very dearly. I would ruin my life for him. And that is very much what I was doing. I was able to get my hands on some chloroform. It knocked him out cold. It was absolutely perfect. I was already in the bathroom with him. He hadn't had woken up yet. So I was just waiting. He was so small, so precious. I had been waiting for this for a long time. Slowly, he woke up. I saw those beautiful eyes I much adored. Finally up close. He was absolute perfection. Hi, sweetheart. I said it without thinking. He looked extremely disturbed. I don't blame him. Who wouldn't? LOL. He didn't speak, just looked in terror. I pulled the knife out of my bag and held it up to his throat. I saw the fear. I saw his breath hitch. It gave me more adrenaline. I pulled my phone out and started recording. Can you smile at the camera? I held the knife closer to his throat. I watched as he forced him a soft smile just for me. Now, when you look at these entries allegedly written by Valdez, it starts to add a darker layer to this case already described through the police report and ultimately puts you in the mind of the student allegedly trying to carry out this murder plot. And this alleged plot isn't described through just words alone. You have the drawings that police found allegedly made by Liippard that are just as chilling. Several images appear to show a male figure with a rope around their neck or victim to a violent attack. Several more images appear to show Valdez interacting with the Sandy Hook shooter. The drawing with the face redacted appears to show Valdez holding a male figure up, writing the caption, "You're so beautiful like a porcelain doll." Now, along with several other drawings depicting romantic or sexual themes with male figures. After reading the police report, watching this footage, and then you look at the notebook entries, it's hard to find words to put all of this into context. But again, all of this information, all of this case, all the alleged admissions that you hear these two suspects make, eventually this could be in front of a jury. All of this potentially could be ammunition for prosecutors in this case. Now, here.
One thing I want to mention with the letters. So again, you're hearing this theme of mental health with her saying to her parents, I've known there was something wrong with me since I was a child. It's going to be interesting to see how much responsibility does fall on the parents, how much responsibility that the courts put on the parents. Now, what that could look like is, did they know that she was struggling with mental health? Was it brought to their attention? If so, were they taking her to her mental health appointments? Were they taking her to therapy? Did she have a psychiatrist? Was she taking her medication? Were they checking in on the medication? Now, they may have been doing everything that they knew in their power to do. Now, on the other hand, they may not have done anything. This could have been kind of like a medical neglect sort of thing, where they weren't doing anything. They just kind of let her figure things out herself. Then a lot of responsibility might fall in their lap. And we've seen in other situations, and I'm not sure if Florida is this type of state, but we've seen in situations where parents have actually been charged for what their child has done, or in this situation had plotted or planned to do. But let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below.
Here's what we know thus far from the legal side of it. Both Valdez and Liippard made their first court appearances in court February 4th. They had their arraignment March 13th, and that's when they were denied bond. Now, according to court records, Valdez pleaded not guilty to charges of attempted first-degree premeditated murder, attempted first-degree felony murder, armed burglary of a structure, attempted aggravated child abuse with a deadly weapon, possession of a weapon on school property, and aggravated stalking. She's due back in court April 29th. As for Liippard, she pleaded not guilty as well to the same charges, minus the aggravated stalking. She's due back in court also on April 29th.
Thank you very much for watching. That'll do it for me today. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and also go down into the description box down below. Be sure to subscribe to my Substack as well, so I can keep you updated not only on this case, but also other cases that might be hitting the news cycle. With all that being said, thank you very much, and I will see you in the next episode. You guys have a good one.